A rushed game will be forever bad, but a delayed game will eventually be good. Some words from Shiggy there before he lost the plot. Are these words true? No, not always, as a rush game like Sonic 06 is absolutely terrible, but it's so bad that it's absolutely hilarious. Like, I could not imagine a good Sonic 06, as if you removed the bugs, the cringy character interactions, and all of the other broken stuff that made it hilarious, it'd just be bland and mediocre. And the flip side, Duke Nukem Forever was delayed for 16 years, and it was not good. Which brings us into Cuphead, which, like Duke Nukem, was delayed for years. Not 16, but pretty much 3 years of delays. And after riding the hype train for close to 5 years now since it was first announced, we arrive at the station, and it's time to get off the train. But was the hype train ride worth it for what we got in the end? Let's go find out. I think this goes without saying. It was the main thing that grabbed everyone's attention, the main draw of the whole thing. This was the big seller, and it worked. Oh my gosh, did it work! The entire aesthetic is that to resemble a 1930s cartoon like Steamboat Willie and Swing You Sinners. Hey, there's an achievement named after the animation of the same name. First, fucking hell! Is the music good? Yes, it is once again. Oh, look there. There's the full OST in that file. I'll be using some of that in future videos, as we got another soundtrack of the year on our hands. So throw it on the pile of amazing soundtracks this year. I mean, just listen to the Dice House.
I'm Mr. King Dice. I'm the gamest in the land. I never play nice. I'm the devil's right-hand man. I can't let you pass, 'cause you ain't done everything. Bring me those contracts, come on, bring them to the king. If you haven't finished your task, haven't worked assiduously, no, I cannot let you pass. Don't you mess with me. Don't mess with King Dice. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with King Dice. Don't mess with me.
Holy shit, that is amazing. And every track is like that, each fitting the boss of which you're fighting, while also capturing the style of 1930s jazz. they did a really damn good job with the soundtrack of this game. Same for the graphics, which I really, really do have to commend them for. Like, I can understand the delays, as every single frame of this game was done by hand. They wanted to see if they could create a game as if it was the 1930s, where you could not just type in a few ones and zeros and BAM! Perfect CGI, fully rendered Mario. And you can see it with this flower boss. Like, here I am fighting the flower boss. Fade shot to the guy drawing it, and then flicking back and forth with the paper. Every single frame of this flower boss is hand drawn. Every single frame of the entire game is hand drawn. And that's some really impressive stuff, right? Even more so, as this is a simple boss. Like, we got the flower and he just kind of throws his head and drops a couple of seeds. You get to later fights, like this one against the burb.
You know, Metroid is such an interesting and wide universe. Most of the games of the franchise are pretty impressive, except for those two who shall never be spoken of.
Oh shit, sorry. Wrong footage. This burb, and look at this shit. Bullets everywhere. The burb that's flying, hand-drawn and animated. The plane, hand-drawn and animated. The little burbs. All your bullets. All of his bullets. All of this, hand-drawn, frame by frame. Then, all them pieces of paper are put together to create this. That's some really fucking impressive stuff, and deserves extreme commendment and the highest of praise, as they pulled it off. It looks great, and it does make me feel like I am watching an old cartoon of that era. So really damn impressive job there, guys. You certainly made it look and sound like the 30s, but looking good and sounding good can only get you so far. So, if it doesn't play good, it ain't worth shit. So how does it play? Let's move on.
I'm Mr. King Dice. I'm the gamest in the land. I never play nice. I'm the devil's right-hand man.
The gameplay is fairly simple to understand. It's nothing more than a boss rush shoot 'em up via the means of games like Contra. So you walk around the map, pick a boss and fire till it dies. There's more complexity to it, but that's the basics. Sometimes it's stand and shoot till dead, sometimes it's fly and shoot till dead, and sometimes it's run and shoot till dead. Now, being a shoot game, that must mean that the shoot and the shoot extras have to be on point. And they are for the most part. The controls are extremely responsive and perfect for the twitchy, fast reactions you will need. You can shoot in all 8 directions, or pretty much any direction wherever the C-stick is pointing. And there is a dash move to avoid damage if timed right. So on a mechanical level, it's perfect for the type of game that it's set out to create. Adding on to this is an array of extras you can get, so you can mix and match to have the perfect loadout for each boss. Meaning, if one loadout doesn't work, maybe something else will. This comes in the forms of primary and secondary weapons. They're always side upgrades, but it's fine for the most part due to the different situations. Like the triple shot does obviously triple the damage, but you need to be at close range for all 3 bullets to hit. And the charge shot has great damage, but precision is key. So you don't want to use the charge shot on, say, a fast moving target or a fast moving boss, and so forth. Then there are charms like coffee, for example, which will allow you to charge your ultimate constantly, regardless of whether you land a shot or not. And the ultimate itself, which comes in the variety of 3 different things. Now, your ultimate you can fire every 20%, which is basically when you have one Ace of Diamonds card, but if you fully max out your ultimate and get the 5 aces, then you can do the big ultimate of either a Hyper Beam for a big chunk of damage, invincibility for a short time for a bullet hell boss, or your body and spirit like separating and you get this twirly man, which I never figured out how to use, so I found it kind of pointless. And, as I say, this diversity allows for great diversity in playstyles and strategies. What worked to kill the clown for someone may not work for you, but another loadout will. And you don't have to get frustrated too much, as you don't have to do the thing of throw your head at a wall over and over till it breaks, as you might just be getting your ass handed to you because you're not using the right loadout, and one special change or secondary change could then smoke that boss that was kicking your ass first go. Now there are 3 things that are a slight detriment that does knock a point off. First is player feedback, taking a line from Total Biscuit.
If I did have any complaints about it, it would be in the feedback that you get from actually hitting things. There's not an awful lot of it. Now, outside of switching phases, the bosses barely react to actually being hit. You have this very light little white flash, which occurs every time you hit them. But your weapons otherwise, ironically, well, not so much ironically, perhaps appropriately, feel like pea shooters. I mean, your main weapon is literally called a pea shooter. And I don't really find combat all that satisfying if my weapon is going to... I almost beat it in one shot. It's a shame I messed that up, but never mind. We'll go and check out another one. I'm not really a fan of games where my weapon doesn't really feel like it's doing much. And as I've explained in previous videos, particularly when dealing with first-person shooters, this is a bit of a nightmare one, I believe. There are a couple of different ways of making a weapon feel impactful. Sound effects is a big one. You make it sound like it's a powerful weapon, and while the sound design in this game for the music is absolutely phenomenal, and the voice acting as well, the sound design for the weapons is anemic. Extremely anemic, and I'm not expecting things to sound like assault rifles. I mean, for God's sake, you know, it is a cartoony game, but the weapons barely make any noise, which unfortunately adds to the feeling that they're not really doing much. Since there's also no health bar, you don't really have much of a visual indication of doing damage other than going from phase to phase to phase. And the little white flashes are not particularly satisfying. I don't feel like I'm really being rewarded for beating the living snot out of these bosses.
And I do feel the same way about that. Like, a slight white flash is fine, but more impactful feedback would be so much better. I get why you don't want the health bars. It would look out of place on the actual, like, screen itself. And that's fine, because as Cad Icarus put it,
the addition of no inclusion of boss health bars was also very smart in my opinion, purely for the reason your adrenaline level never drops as you attack relentlessly, hoping and praying that you're entering the next phase or ending the fight really soon, giving this sense of agency to the encounters that I wasn't expecting. And I suppose a health bar would look a little bit too video gamey and superficial on top of such a work of art. And with every death showing you your exact position along the stage or damage that you dealt until you defeated the boss, not only adds to the just one more time mentality if you were ridiculously close to the end, but also gives you the feedback on your success after your failure. It's encouragement more than a smack in the face, and doesn't encourage bad habits from you during play, like getting impatient and rushing the boss in the last inch of health to go. Sometimes less is more.
Which I agree with, but I really would love some more battle feedback, please. Like, just make the shots, especially the charge shot that is a high damage gun, more impactful and have more than a slight white flash.
I can't let you pass, 'cause you ain't done everything. Bring those contracts, come on, bring on to the king.
So, anything pink can be parried. However, it has to be frame, pixel, second perfect. If it's not, fuck you. So half the time, you're already starting parry mode, and your pink glow is just beginning. Oh, but it's not full glow. So even though you're clearly in parry mode, and there is clearly a pink glow starting, sorry, you're 1 frame, 1 millisecond too late. So, get fucked, kid. I hate the parry. I hate the parry so much. And you know what makes it even worse? It was never in the beta or any early footage. It's clear, like the run and gun levels that we'll get to in a moment, it was thrown in last minute to add this arbitrary bullshit check to the checklist for an A rank, and it was totally unneeded. But whatever, it's nothing major, but you know, can you please patch it so you get a few frames of lenience, as the frame reading be perfect shit we got right now, it only detriments the game, and it just makes it far harder than it has to be. Speaking of which,
Don't you mess with me. Don't mess with King Guy. Don't mess with me. Don't mess with King Guy. Don't mess with me.
so this is going to be the biggest turn-off for people. It touts a very punishing difficulty. While some of it is pattern memorization, so fights like this bitch, well, let's die on purpose. Each flagpole is a phase, and she has a lot of phases, i.e. a lot of time is going to be sunk into this boss, and death means starting from the beginning. And the bosses only get longer and longer and harder. So by the time you reach King Dice and his 10 boss fight gauntlet, there's going to be a lot of shit like this fucking roulette ballerina. Oh, I can't beat her. I can't fucking beat her. I can't do it. Give me any of the other bosses on this goddamn roulette board, not the ballerina. Ooh. Calming down. But yeah. So the boss fight is long. It's around 20 minutes. Depending on which bosses you fight. So if you happen to end on the fucking ballerina and die at 19 minutes just before his last form, well, that's 20 minutes wasted. So fun. And what makes this even worse is it has a Contra-like gimmick, where you can't even get to the final area of Inkwell Hell, nor fight the devil himself, unless you beat every boss on normal difficulty. It's a real piss-off. Like, I would have just loved to have gone through the game casually, played through the whole game and streamed it, just purely to marvel at its uniqueness and creativity, and then work on the harder difficulties later, but no! You gotta do it on normal, so it devolves into fighting a boss and screaming at it for 10 minutes while you work out its phases and the patterns of them phases, then scream at it for another 10 minutes trying to beat the fucker and like switching your loadout constantly to figure out which one is going to be the one that kills him. And of course, if you want that final devil goodness, then the higher difficulty is a requirement, which is bollocks. Yet, here I am. Just like here are a lot of others I've watched. Several streamers and YouTubers. Despite everyone screaming. Despite the multiple streamers and YouTubers all saying, fuck this, I'm done, no more. We all made second, third, and even fourth streams of the game. As brutally difficult? Yes. Frustrating? Yes. Not good for casual players? Yes. But you know, another game was like this. Super Meat Boy. A soul-crushingly hard game that made many want to snap their controllers in rage and just stop playing. But, like Cuphead, we all kept going back to it after a break, refreshed and ready for another round of punishment, because we're all sadistic little shits. Or it worked. Island 3 is my perfect example. I had been streaming for around 2 hours, and some of the bosses had been tricky, and I was starting to get pissed off. Upon opening Island 3, there were only 2 fights available to me, that being Queen Bee and Bluto. I was pissed off, I was not thinking right about my loadouts because Island 2 and that fucking clown had worn me down. And the bee and the pirate kicked my ass for 10 minutes each before I said, okay, fuck this, I'm done. However, taking a break and returning to it over 24 hours later, rested, relaxed, thinking clearly about my loadouts, and being right at the start of the stream, a quick loadout change, and bam, both of them first try, baby. And then everyone on stream was questioning why I had such a hard time yesterday. And it happened again on that very same stream. I managed to beat all of Island 3. I managed to do everything on Island 3. But after about 3 hours of streaming, and that goddamn fucking train. Oh, the train. The train is the worst fucking cocking boss in the game! But after the train, I just was done. I fucking hated that train. And I could not do King Dice at all. We were there for another whole hour, just desperately trying in vain to beat King Dice. I couldn't do it. But next day, I'd had a break. I'd had time to clear my head. And the next day, King Dice, first try, baby. And again, it was because the previous night I was frustrated, and the soul and the annoyance of the previous bosses, like the fucking train, was clouding my judgment on when to dodge correctly or when to shoot correctly, only making me take more damage, which led to me getting more frustrated, leading into this downward spiral where I was never going to win without a break. So, while it can be frustrating at times, it is the Super Meat Boy frustrating of yes, it is hard, at points Dark Souls hard, but sometimes you only do it to yourself, and you might just need a little break to clear your head. As while some bosses can be Dark Souls hard, like the fucking train, like Dark Souls, it is fair, for the most part. Every boss has a weakness, every boss has a loadout that will take it down very easily. Every boss has a pattern, and every boss can be surmounted. And every time I did surmount a boss, it made me feel good about myself. Except for the devil, who is total fucking bullshit due to a really obnoxious bug. So when a boss takes damage, it flashes white, yeah? You've been seeing that across this entire video. And you can see it right now, as I'm explaining, it flashes white. Right, here's the devil. I'm going to shoot to the left of the screen. Watch the devil very, very closely. And now let's die. Yeah, he was flashing, and as you can see from the progress bar, he took damage. For whatever reason, he has a hitbox on the very far left and very far right of the screen. Now when he does the snakehead move, this one that you can't go under and you have to stand on the far left or the far right to avoid it, well, you can't, because when he recoils the head, well, the hitbox gets really fucking big. So when he recoils the head, fucking bullshit. That was free damage that I could not avoid as your wonky ass hitbox gets bigger too quickly for me to move out of the way as you're pulling your head back. So you just gotta blindly hope and pray that he does not do moves like the snake head that forces you to the sides of the screen, as it's just free, cheap damage. And in beating the devil, there was no, "Oh, fuck yes, I did it. Oh man, that felt good," that I'd had with every other boss. It was more, "Oh, fucking hell, finally. That was bullshit. Thank fuck the luck worked out and I was never forced to the side of the screen, giving me a fair chance at the last phase. That was total shit." So devs, you might want to fix that one.
Mr. King dies, he just what I say. The devil has his price, and I'll make sure you pay.
And this difficulty carries over to the run and gun levels, a last-minute addition, as the creators thought that the boss rush would be too monotonous. No. No, 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 no. You could have not been more wrong. If anything, these are the monotonous shit bits that I really don't care for and wish were removed, as the bosses are quick 1 to 2 minute fights. They're quick, and like Meat Boy, death and restart is instantaneous. The second you die, you press a button and you're back shooting. With the run and gun stages, especially the fairground, it takes 5 minutes to get through, and dying right near the end is demoralising, especially when it's not your fault, as the run and gun levels do feel cheap. Especially because of this shitty fucking octopus, where there's just too much. He's moving, and you gotta dodge bubbles from behind, and then you got to dodge the completely random million fucking shrimps coming from the front. Oh, but then you've also got to parry the jewel, as if he hits the rock, then, you know, he dies, and if he dies, you die. And you've also got to make sure that when parrying the jewel, to make sure you keep the ride going, that you don't parry into an enemy and take damage, because if you take damage while you're parrying, you get knocked back and you fall in the water and die, because Octo Boy, well, he don't wait for anybody, so you're not going to catch up to him, even with the invincibility frames, and it's total fucking garbage. And what makes it even worse is there is a really cool mode attached to these. One I think is a really cool addition, which works great for the game and the art style. Only problem is, in order to unlock this mode, you need to pee. See it on the flagpole here? You need to P rank all 6 run and gun stages. P stands for pacifist. That means you can't fire any supers or shoot your gun once. One shot, you fail. So you need the 5 HP charm from the pig, and prepare to have your shit pushed in. As remember the octopus stage? Well, previous footage, here I am clearing the shrimps away with the truffle shot. P, as in P for pacifist? Yes, look at this shit. That's total fucking bollocks. How am I supposed to avoid all that? How am I supposed to avoid all that, hey? Gotta parry to keep the rock going. Gotta dodge to throw bubbles from the front. Gotta parry and make sure I don't get hit from the thing getting knocked in the back. But I can't shoot the thing to get rid of it to have a chance to actually not get hit because I'm all a pacifist, so I've just gotta dodge all that shit. Oh, but the million shrimps are fucking random. So it doesn't matter how much you practice, because the shrimps always come out random and there's no way to dodge them. Fuck you. It's bollocks. It's what fucking pacifist. Oh, we're gonna make a Contra game. Oh yeah, just don't shoot an enemy in Contra. Oh, it's really easy. You remember the pacifist one in Contra? Just don't kill a single enemy in fucking Contra. Yeah, fuck you. Fuck off. Fuck you. So the run and gun levels, fuck 'em. Fuck Fuck them. Get rid of them, please. I fucking hate them. I can't deal with it. Especially if you want the really cool mode that's locked behind passive. No, fuck this. No.
Don't have time to mess around, and I hope you will agree. Bring me those contracts pronto! Don't you mess with me!
So, the final verdict for Cuphead is a very good 4 out of 5. No matter what I say on stream, it is really good. It is an addictive game. From my frustration on stream, some like the Black Fox Alex and the Burb Moon Knight don't want to get the game. Don't listen to me. It's frustrated, salty stream Spyro. No matter what frustrated, salty stream Spyro says on stream, it's a great game. The only thing that should really make you decide whether it's for you or not is the difficulty. I'm not gonna lie. It's hard. It's bloody hard. And playing it too much will get you frustrated and say things like, fuck this shit, or fuck this, after this level I'm done, and so forth. But due to its extremely quick Super Meat Boy death respawns, where it just flows one run into another, and the lack of health bars, so seeing yourself right at the flagpole after the death, it gives it that just one more go, I can do it, I'm right on the flagpole, just one more run mentality. Like Sonata Dusk and her sweet taco-loving siren song, it keeps pulling me back in. I fucking hated the devil and its cheap, wonky-ass hitbox. I hate this fucking octopus. I'm done, I'm not playing anymore. But there she is, just swimming there, looking all innocent, munching on a candy necklace like there's nothing wrong, when she very well knows what she's doing, singing her siren song and pulling me back in. And despite the devil stream ending with, no, fuck this, no, this is shit, I'm done. Oh, but what about them expert mode bosses? No, Sonata, I'm done. Oh, but don't you want to show everybody that Spyro is not bad at video games? No, I can't be arsed, Sonata, I'm done. You sure? Yes. But are you really sure? Yes.
Me and you and me. Why don't we see who is better? We don't have to be one in the same thing.
Yeah, you're right. I've had a few days break and I'm calm. And I really want to play it again and try and do that pacifist run. Wait. Damn it, Sonata, you ditzy siren, stop it! And that is really what it's like. The gameplay itself does a few dick moves, and it does have a few dick moments and mechanics like the parry, but once it works, and thanks to its absolutely stupendous visuals and soundtrack, like the siren and her sweet song, it will always call you back for more. Even if it's more punishment and you will just end up being salty again, you will still heed the call, because despite the Dark Souls level of difficulty sometimes, you know that it's not insurmountable, and it's more than beatable, and you want to prove that you can beat it, mainly to yourself but to others as well. Which brings us to the wrap-up, with the visuals and the absolute knockout punch that no one expected. So as I said, every single thing is hand-drawn, every animation, bullet, super, frame by frame, drawn by hand, and it's really damn impressive that they pulled it off as good as they did. And as the credits roll, and everyone was saying what a good job they did with the visuals, and how well what? Unity? Yeah, that was a well-kept secret. As the credits rolled and that one logo made with Unity rolled up onto the stream, both text and voice, was like, what? Wait, this is made in Unity? Unity, what? Sir Pilo? Yeah, no one could believe it. I mean, there have been very well made games in Unity like Hearthstone, and they look great, but it's still within the realms of possibility and still within what you could realistically expect from Unity. But this one, this is on a whole other level, and it really shows just what Unity is truly capable of when put in talented hands. It's well known that Unity has an image problem, with many dirty devs and fucksticks like DigiHom making shit like this in Unity. And they get the free version, so the made with Unity is right there at the start, when it should be the other way round. And the paid for full version should have it front and centre. And this is now the perfect example of why you should not shit talk Unity. It's a game made in Unity. Unity is so bad. No, the shithead people that get the free version make it look bad. Look at this! Look at this fucking amazing game! This is made with Unity. Tell me this is bad. So, very well done, Cuphead team, on keeping that one a secret, and very well done overall. It's a fantastic game, and I really look forward to seeing what game you make next, especially if it has a, I'm not saying a 1930s art style, it could be the 1980s, or just a completely different art style altogether, like a surrealist one, or whatever other artist terms there are, psychedelic one, but whatever. But I really look forward to seeing what you create next and what art style you do create it in. So good job there. I'm gonna go now. We've got a right whopper for you tomorrow.